Dear students, welcome back. This is Lazarski Talks, and this is Monday, 6 p.m., so here we are. Today, we have a happy birthday of our Lazarski Talks because we have the 10th episode. We weren't here in a month, so we've missed you, and today we have a present for you. Instead of having one guest, we're having two guests. Very cool guys that look similar, because they kind of are. And today we're going to be talking about the very, very special faculty that we have at Lazarski University. And here we go. Let me start with the technical stuff that I say all the time. First of all, we are corona-free, and we're not lying about that. Second of all, turn off your microphones, please. And if you have any question you can text us in the Instagram or Microsoft Teams. Well, we know that you like to text more than speak to us, so please do that. And what else should I say? Thank you very much for co-hosting me today, my wonderful friend. And
Always
yes,
happy.
the word is yours.
And I would like to remind you of one pleasant thing is the contest for the coolest question which you guys are going to choose today from our students. So please remember about that, and let's switch to the introduction. Today we have Pierson and Kolton Piecznski.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Can you guys shortly introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Kolton. This is Pierson.
Pierson.
We're both from the United States, and
Yeah.
we're studying the
We're brothers.
Yeah, brothers.
Yeah.
brothers. And we're studying the aviation law and professional pilot's license program here at Lazarski. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, if you finish Lazarski University, this faculty, and you're going to Germany or to Germany, to Germany or to France,
Yeah.
do you need to know their law, or what is the reality of this?
No,
branch?
as a pilot, not necessarily. It's good to know, and it's required you have to take, in order to get like your ATPL license, which is like the big license to get.
It's like
the
airline
commercial-
transportation license.
Yeah.
Is like the
you have to take 14 tests, and one of the 14 tests is air law. It's just generic law, but you wouldn't have to specifically know the law of Germany or France, but you should just know the general principles of like I can legally land here, or I can take off here, but not necessarily. It's pretty generic, and you can go pretty much anywhere and
That's
fly
a
anywhere.
big like
Yeah.
very like
Yeah.
the Polish law is helping us for like here, but like no, for instance, like if we wanted to fly for like to France, then we wouldn't have to like study the French law,
yeah.
and then like we have
Which
to,
is nice.
which is very nice. Yeah.
Makes things easy.
By the way,
yeah.
do you need to speak Polish in order to
No.
do what
No.
you do?
Thankfully, no.
No, I think that's a very important point
for
to,
sure,
to
for
make.
sure.
Most
for-
everything
Yeah.
in aviation tends to be in English, especially air traffic control procedures, things inside the airplane. It's in English. It would help, obviously, if your co-pilot or your captain was Polish. It would just for just conversation, but not necessarily. Yeah,
No,
you could
yeah,
use
the
just
whole,
English.
whole
Yeah,
program is in English. Even
Yeah.
our flight training and all that's in
Yeah, it's
English.
which is good for us.
Oh, it's
yeah,
we're learning
yeah.
Polish, but
Yeah.
we're struggling.
Yeah, it's a little hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you just tell us finally, and we're going to go to the next question, what is the favorite class that you have? I mean, it's not necessary that you have the same favorite
Yeah,
class.
yeah.
so-
That's hard. Oh goodness.
Yeah. Meteorology's cool.
What?
It's hard.
Meteorology.
It's like
The study of
weather.
weather. Yeah,
Study
like
weather,
climate
it's-
and weather.
okay.
Which-
Well,
Okay,
the-
the
the only-
weather.
well, the only reason
It's
it's
hard
hard
though.
It's hard, but like the reason I like it is because it makes me feel smart.
Oh yeah, you feel
because
smarter
it's
when
like
you're
it's like cloud types and things, so that you can look outside and you're like of
Cloud
course.
types.
Cloud,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, 'cause,
different,
like,
there's different
You have
types of
types
clouds.
of clouds. People.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
So it's
have
like-
If you didn't
types
know.
of
yeah.
clouds.
But it's like because you're like, oh, of course, when it's raining in this cloud type, it's there's a front moving in. And you're
Yeah.
like, but like it makes
Yeah,
you feel
you
like
feel like a weatherman. Like
yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
I'm predicting the weather. But I'd say meteorology. I like.
You say meteorology?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Probably like we take general knowledge about the aircraft, which is essentially it's like what? You're
like
laughing.
basic, okay.
Yeah, no, it's all like the aircraft system. So it's like I would say it's all more mechanical, where it's like how the engine works for different like turboprop and like stuff
Yeah.
like that. I'd say that's probably because like when we go to the airport, you can see like an engine. You're like, oh, I know how that works. Like a lubricating system for oil. You're like, oh yeah. Most of the time. Sometimes
Most
it's
of the
like most of the time you're like,
Until they point out something and you're like, ooh, that's new.
yeah, like yeah. But probably general knowledge about the
Yeah.
aircraft. Yeah.
But there's a bunch of good classes though.
Oh,
I mean,
they're
we've
all
enjoyed-
really interesting.
We've
yeah.
enjoyed most of it. I mean, there hasn't been a class that we've like disliked. They've always been. They're all good. Meteorology is just my favorite, but that's just
Yeah.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, yeah.
I see that we have a question from the student.
Yeah, and you can read it.
Okay. Coming back to this law stuff.
Yeah.
There is a question. How different are international and national laws? Is it easier to learn one knowing the other?
Yes, actually, I would say that because of the fact that most in aviation, there's like conventions and things. Oh, yeah. There's conventions and things. So most national laws that countries have accepted are based on principles and documents and treaties of international law. There's a convention that came out in 1944. It's called the Chicago Convention, and most countries signed that convention. They went to and they signed the document. So most laws are based off of that Chicago Convention. So understanding international law really, really helps with understanding national aviation law, just because it's almost the same thing. There's very, very small differences.
Yeah, I would say like the national aviation law is. It goes more
It's
into
just a smaller
detail.
section.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
goes more into detail of like Polish airspaces, for instance,
Yeah.
where obviously the
obviously a big
international law
document, yeah.
wouldn't cover that. It's more of like airspaces in Europe,
Yeah.
for instance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say
Yeah,
they're
but-
both. I mean, I shouldn't say they're easy. Like there's some complicated stuff to it, but once you like work through like the documents and stuff, it's really not that
Yeah.
difficult. It's
But yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, they work together. And
I
if
would
you
say they work
understand-
really well
If
together.
you understand one, you'll understand the other. So
Yeah.
it's nice. It makes it easy.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
They're saying it's so easy, but for
Yes.
me it's so complicated.
You have types of cloud, just for
Types of
I
clouds,
still have
yes.
this phrase.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
there.
yes.
I'm there in
Yeah.
that moment of our conversation.
So,
We are moving to another one. I know that while enrolling and on the very first stages of this program, you have psychological tests, right?
Yes.
Yes, that falls
Yeah.
in within like
The
the
medical check.
the medical check.
Okay, can you tell about this?
Yeah.
How do they check you?
They check everything,
Yeah.
and so obviously if you're in an airplane, then you need to be like fit to fly and like tip-top shape. Is how do they say it? And so we were required to get like, how would you say it? Like a
Yeah, it's like a full analysis of everything.
they
So-
check everything. So like we had to get our blood drawn, and you have to do this every single year.
Yeah.
And it gets dicey whenever you're like, I think it's over the age of. This is air law coming in. I think it's like over the age of like 40.
Yeah,
Is it's
becomes
like twice a year.
Above the age of
Anyway,
60, 3 or 4 times a
yeah.
year.
So
We have a lecture here.
yeah,
sorry. I
sorry.
didn't
Yeah.
make this like boring. Yeah,
But
yeah,
no,
yeah.
okay, so essentially you get like a medical check, and
Yeah.
it's basically to
Blood work. It's blood work, vision, hearing, X-rays.
X-rays,
They also do.
hearing,
said
sight.
that, yeah, but yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and then the psychological side of things, which
yeah.
that was less of what I thought it would be. It was more about, can you do tasks like they'll have like 2 little like almost like joystick things,
Mhm.
and they would have on a screen, it would be like objects, and you had to move objects in like a line, but it was just, can you multitask by doing 2
Yeah.
things at once? Because obviously in an aviation scenario, you're going
There's
to
multiple
be
things
yeah,
going
things
on
are
at
going to be
once,
going on,
and-
and so can you kind of multitask? But
Yeah.
yeah, it was good. It was definitely interesting. I hate needles and blood
Oh, yeah.
work, so I almost
Yeah.
passed out. But that was
Needles don't bother me, but he was
I hate
freaking
needles.
out.
Yeah,
But
I hate needles.
we
It's-
passed,
we
thankfully.
passed. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
but yeah, and the initial check, it's like super intense. Like it took us
check
4 to
every-
5
yeah.
hours to
Yeah.
do, and it's kind of funny. It's like a scavenger hunt. It's like, oh, go to this doctor, go to that
Yeah.
doctor,
Yeah.
and so it's obviously it's not fun because you're being like checked
There's
by
needles involved.
There's needles involved, yeah. But I know like next year they still like check you, but it's much less
a lot less
intense.
intensive. Yeah.
It was just to prove that basically like on the
You're
higher
good.
standard we're
Yeah, you're
good.
like, I'm good.
And it's nice because
Medically,
there's
yeah.
not to keep talking about it, but there's like there's different medical checks. Like there's like a general aviation medical check, which is like if you only want to fly like small planes. But we had to get the commercial
Class
level
1,
as if like we're flying like obviously we're gonna be flying large amounts of people. So we had to get like the
which is funny because
more
technically,
intense.
medically, we're rated to fly the biggest airplane that there is
yeah.
out there.
So we have like
But
a
yeah,
a
which is
commercial
you're like,
medical
okay,
check.
allow
But,
me, yeah.
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna ask the question straight away. I didn't
Okay.
have it on the list, but I just came up. When you're at the airport and you have to fly somewhere, do you already see the things another way from other
Yes.
people?
Yes.
Yes.
What
it
are
was-
the things that you
yeah,
point out?
Yeah, we noticed because
Yeah.
okay, obviously getting a pilot's license we knew was hard. But then you start looking at like what it takes to become a captain of like an airline, and you see the steps that are involved to get there. It's like before you're like, oh, that's the captain, that's really cool. But now I'm like, oh my god, this guy's
Like, you're
gone
like-
through
like,
that's
it's captain.
respect. I was
Yeah.
like, this guy's gone through
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
But even just understanding like stuff that you see at the airport with like especially ground things that are moving on the ground, it's nice when you understand it because as some of our classes deal with just stuff at the airport, just understanding what's going on. Even though it doesn't pertain to us, we won't be on the ground, we'll be in the plane. But it's nice just to know what's moving around. So you're like, I know the name of that object, I know this and
You
that.
feel
yeah.
much
Yeah,
like you were saying. You
yeah,
feel much
yeah.
cooler.
I know the
'cause
name
you're-
of type of clouds.
type of
Yeah,
clouds.
yeah, type of
you
clouds,
can look out the
exactly.
window and you're like, ooh, that's
Yeah.
turbulent. Like,
Oh,
don't want to
yeah,
fly in
yeah,
there.
oh, yeah,
But no, you definitely understand more
Yeah.
things about an airport,
But it's also
especially.
but it's super. It's very satisfying too. Because
Oh, yeah.
It's like you know that you're learning, and you know that like, yeah, it just feels good. It's just nice.
Yeah.
Can we go please to the question number 3? Because I think it's, this kind of question
Yeah, I missed
because
that.
I
I'm
really
sorry.
think that students need to know about that.
Yeah.
Because in order to know the types of clouds and
yes,
to
of
respect
course.
the pilot, we have one very serious question that I'm asking you to ask.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Can you explain step by step how you can be enrolled to this aviation program in Lazarski University?
Yeah. So I think the first step that we did, well, we found it,
We
was a
found the program.
was a
Yeah.
good step. But then we emailed. There's a coordinator, Vlad,
Vlad.
and
Who
so
helps out a lot.
Yeah, and so he helped us, and so we just emailed him and just said, we were interested in the program. What steps would we take? And all it was just, it was just pretty generic.
It was a
things
really
of,
quick
like,
process because we actually found the program relatively late. Like classes have already started,
Yeah.
and so we were scared because we're like, oh no, we missed it. We had like a week to apply
Yeah.
before the deadline, and it was fairly easy. We had to take 2 tests.
It was a math and a science test.
math. Yeah, we passed them.
Wow.
You sit
right?
here.
Yeah,
It's
no, exactly. Yeah,
obvious.
we passed them.
Confidently passed it.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then the medical check is one of the things you will need, basically to prove that like you don't want to be taking flight lessons if you if you can't fly medically. And so that was one of the things we had to get.
But generically, it's pretty much just like kind of like a resume
Mhm.
that you just take the 2 placement tests, and then they just ask you just for more documents like visas, things like that if you're international.
We did have
students.
to, which was funny for us, but it makes sense. We had to have a
Oh, an
Skype
English
interview
test. Yeah.
proving we spoke English. So obviously
Yeah.
for us, it was
Yeah, it was
actually
kinda
funny.
funny.
It was a funny
Yeah.
conversation.
You were checking if the people who were
Yeah.
checking you speak
Yeah,
English
yeah, yeah.
properly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was funny, but it was just to check to make sure that obviously, because going in, the whole program's in English, so it just needed to make sure that obviously you're going to understand things that going through, which is good. So we had to take it, which was funny.
It was a
But-
good interview.
but it's
Yeah.
good. It's a good step.
It was a
I'm
good
glad
5
that they have
minutes
it,
and
but
then-
yeah.
Probably you were just speaking so fast that people who were interviewing you
I
just
know,
didn't
yeah.
understand
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, just
let
like
these
this.
people
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Push them along. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have another question from not from the guest, Jesus, from the student. And quite interesting one, by the way.
Okay.
What airlines are you most attractive to work in for you?
Interesting.
That's
actually
a
really
hard
good
question because we have
We've
this
actually been
debate
talking about this,
almost every
yeah.
single day.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like most people, if you build time with an airline, just to cut to it, you get paid the most because you have it's like
The
a
benefits are
it's like a loyalty bonus almost. And so we don't know. In Europe, I can narrow it down. We want to fly in Europe because obviously we're getting a European license. Ooh.
I'd say Lot Polish Airlines.
Lot
just
Polish
because
Airlines
we're
is-
here.
is here.
I mean, it's a great airline, and I mean, we have a flight mentor who he's a 787 captain for Lot Polish
Mhm.
Airlines. So it's nice because we're already starting to kind of understand how Lot works, especially
Mhm.
from the role of a captain. Obviously, we're not at the captain level yet, but hopefully we'll get
Yeah.
there one day. But it's just nice because we have like inside information on
Mhm.
how that stuff works, and so I think it would be a great stepping stone, especially coming here or living here in Poland. Especially we're trying to learn Polish, and so as we get closer and closer, we could make it. I don't know, Lot Polish Airlines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we please move that question about Poland up to the
Yeah, we can do that,
Because I
but
really want to
just
ask
one
that.
tiny
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
Do you have some airlines that you simply don't respect or don't like when it comes to Europe?
When it comes to Europe,
When it comes to
No,
did we
I would
mention the bad landing?
Air
No,
France,
no.
for example, they lose the baggage every
Yeah,
single
well,
time
no,
you
I
use
feel
them.
like no, because
No,
I think the most reputations of airlines, a lot of times, especially when it comes to smaller airlines, it usually like with hard landings and things like that.
Like,
But it's like it's just
yeah.
because it's new pilots, and that's something that I think is it's a good step.
yeah, because typically if you're doing like
I would
domestic,
say
if you're
there's
doing
not
like
an airline-
domestic flights, you're the new guy.
you're the new
like,
guy,
yeah.
So it's like there's not an
It's
airline.
not really like the airline's
I would say
fault.
all
per
airlines.
se.
Yeah, there's not like one that I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, oh Jesus. Go with the question.
Why Poland?
Ah.
Simple as that.
Good,
Please
yes.
big
explain.
question.
The
Yeah.
big
So
one.
one day you're looking for this degrees in aviation law.
Just again,
whatever.
you are in the United States of America.
Yeah,
At that time, yeah.
At that
yes.
time.
In
Yeah.
USA,
I was
you're
in-
looking
I was in
for
high school, yeah.
aviation degree,
Yeah.
law,
Yeah,
all this
yeah.
stuff, and you see Poland, and you're like,
Yes,
That's
is the
it.
country.
That's the
Yeah.
one.
"We are going."
Yeah.
Why?
You explain. You have
Yeah,
more
I, 'cause
story to
I
tell.
came 1 year before he did.
He was here last year.
And
Yeah.
so I knew I wanted to go internationally outside the U.S., but I didn't know where. So I just started kind of doing some like country searching of just searching different things. And Poland came up, and I really liked Poland. And so and so then it was crazy because I moved here, but I had never visited once. I just up and moved, and so I came here, and I went to another university for a year, and then I found Lazarski, and then the rest is history.
And
now
then I was like following in the same footsteps.
because I have to
Actually,
do the hard work,
I graduated high school a year early because I was like, oh, I got to get to Poland. And so I graduated high school a year early and then went to the same university he went to for a week and then transferred here. So I attended a week of classes and then we found this university and I was like, much better. So
yeah, we love the program much better here.
so much more
so we
enjoyable.
immediately transferred.
Can I ask you a question? Your relatives or your classmates from your American school,
Yeah.
did they ask you a question about, moving to this country?
Yeah, it was kind of
A lot of questions,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause it was just weird, especially because within the United States, a lot of people just go to college, either locally almost, if you would just stay where you're at. And so for us to kind of just, we're just we're not going
not
out of
only
state,
leaving
we're
the
going out
state.
of the states, like
Yeah.
we're leaving. Yeah, but at the same time, I was like, for us, it was just we wanted to see the world. So
And people are skeptical, but then we're like just let us do our thing. We're like, it'll work out. It'll work
Do you
out.
like it here?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
we
love
love
it here. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
it's
it's
like
fantastic.
even with like COVID, I've talked to people and they're like, oh, like are you like regret moving there because like COVID's going on? I'm like, no,
No. Yeah,
we're
there's-
still having a good time. I mean, it
Yeah.
like limits some things, but it's still fun.
we love it. Yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
And like you meet so many cool people.
Yeah, that's the
For
thing.
instance,
We've
like
met so many awesome people.
yeah.
Yeah.
In Lazarski or outside the university?
Both.
Yeah. Just by running people on the street or just talking to someone. Yeah.
And
People on
actually,
the street.
I have
Yeah.
to mention
What's
that,
up?
Lazarski Student Help Desk, you organize a lot of events, and I think you are
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's actually that's
We
where
usually
met,
attend, yeah.
I think of all of the people.
Actually, all the people we've met through Lazarski is
Yeah,
actually
it's been
at the
through,
help.
yeah. So it's like it's
Thank
a great.
you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually have one more question that is related to what we're talking,
Okay.
what we talk about here. So, how do you pronounce your surname?
See, this is a fun one.
This is yeah.
So in the United States, it's pronounced Piecznski, but that's not correct in
It's
terms
wrong.
of the Polish. Yeah, it's wrong in
Yeah.
terms of how it's supposed to be
Yeah.
pronounced in Polish. We're missing a letter. It's a Y. So
Yeah.
it should be Piecznski with the Y, but it's spelled incorrectly. So it's
Yeah.
Because we have a question: Is it weird to hear your surnames pronounced differently here? Or you're like, okay, call me whatever.
we
you
got
like.
used to it,
Yeah.
and it's actually kind of cool because they like say it in like the proper way, and we're
Yeah,
not used
so-
to that. Because like
yeah, I feel more
even in
sophisticated.
even in the United States, like our teachers, they couldn't pronounce our
pronounce
last name. They
yeah.
like they'd butcher it. I don't
Yeah.
know how they would say it, but
Yeah.
so no, it's kind of cool that it's like, oh yeah, that's like authentic,
That's
like
authentic.
Piecznski, yeah. And even when you got a credit card or
Yeah,
like
when
a
I
debit
first
card,
got here, I got my
they
bank
spelled it
account.
wrong.
Yeah, when I got my bank account, the first time on the card, I put my name in how I spell it without the Y.
Yeah.
But then the guy at the bank put the Y in there, thinking that I had just misspelled it. So they sent me the card, but I couldn't use it because it wouldn't match up to
Yeah.
my passport.
Yeah.
So I had to awkwardly go back to the bank and like, no, I understand it looks completely wrong.
Yeah, it looks wrong, but I
please
promise you
just
it's
drop
right.
the
Yeah.
Y. Yeah.
So people who finish economics faculty or whatever, when you work in a bank, please just follow whatever a
Yeah, I
person
promise
is filling in the blank.
Yeah.
We also had this conversation with the director of the studio here while preparing the episode, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Are you sure
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is the
that's-
correct
it's
way
even-
to write the
even,
surname?"
Like, not to
Yeah.
go back to the medical exam, but like the doctors,
medical exam,
they
yeah,
would
they spelled
write
it with
with
the
the
Y.
Y, and we
Yeah.
felt bad because like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, but
Yeah.
like,
But
so
it's-
we
So
were
you're
like,
feeling sorry for your
Yeah, because,
but,
like,
but what's weird is
I
'cause
wish
it's like
we had a
people in the
Y,
United
but-
States they spell it incorrectly because they just can't spell it, but then people in Poland misspell it because it looks wrong to them.
yeah.
So it's funny because it's like we can't win. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're always losing.
They will
yeah.
remember you forever.
Oh,
yeah,
Hopefully,
suppose.
hopefully.
That's true. Okay, should we read the question from the students?
Yeah, I think so.
Should I? Okay. You said about X-ray when you were talking about this medical stuff, but it is harmful, and regular checks could harm person. How often those dangerous checks?
I think it's just.
Dangerous checks.
I think for the X-ray, I think it's just once. It's just for the initial check. It's just to make sure that like just bone-wise that everything is okay and there's not like any.
More,
bone-
I think it's checking more of like scoliosis and like like he was saying, like to make sure you're
it's
like
just more like, but you only do it once,
I think-
unless
yeah.
there was any reason that they need to check you again.
Okay.
But that would be, I think it's just once.
yeah.
Okay, we have this. Can you read that? Because I don't really understand what is happening there.
Seriously, I hear so much new things. Are you talking about this one,
Yes.
the last one? Okay, we have a question from Victoria. Did you use the ICAO alphabet for secret communication?
So you
yes.
see, we're stupid here. 'Cause I
Yes.
don't know what that's
ICAO,
about.
ICAO,
Yeah.
ICAO,
So
yeah.
we have an English for pilots class,
Yeah.
and so in that class we're not allowed to say our names. So
Yeah, so I'm Papa
Yeah.
India
I'm
because
Kilo
it's
Oscar.
PI Papa India.
Yeah. So and also the professor
funny.
wanted us to text each other, but we would have to spell out the words in that alphabet, which
Yeah.
was we haven't done it yet. So
Yes.
Can you explain what is the alphabet?
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's-
So
what is the
it's
whole
go for
thing?
it, yeah.
Yeah, so whenever there's like any call signs or anything like that, and there's letters, you have to like say them out in a different way. So Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta,
Echo, Foxtrot.
So it's like that.
Yeah.
So it's so that there's no miscommunication of saying A, B, C, D, E, and it's just a
And it's
generalized
mostly
alphabet.
because, and we learn about it in the English for Pilots class, is a lot of, we actually learn about it, we'll watch like air traffic control like mess ups,
Yeah.
or like, for instance, someone says something and they don't completely understand,
Yeah.
they think they said something else. And so the alphabet is to basically,
numbers.
even numbers,
Like-
like 9 is niner, 5 is fife, and then 4 is like
Four.
foer.
Yeah,
It's hard,
3
it's
is
weird to
tree.
say, but
But it's the idea is that to make sure that there's no accidents from people
Yeah.
mishearing things,
you want
they
to
change the word.
extend the word so
Yeah.
there's more syllables
I
to
have
it.
never ever heard about that.
Really?
Honestly,
Yeah.
me
It's like
too.
it's similar to like the military alphabet or
Yeah.
like
So
the
like
law
in
enforcement.
Poland, any airplane that's registered in Poland is Sierra Papa.
SP.
Like it starts
Yeah.
with Sierra. In the United States, it's
Now we're going back to
November.
air law.
Yeah,
And
now
you are?
we're yeah,
Papa India.
And you?
Kilo Oscar.
Because
Jesus.
she takes the first
Yeah.
two letters, and so our classmates are Sierra
no, but
Zulu, and
but it's funny because like the first class that we had to do that, it was a little stressful because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like Kilo Oscar and you're like
it's not your
just
name,
looking
so
around,
you're
it's
like,
you're
where's
not
Kilo
used-
Oscar?
Yeah, you're not used to hearing
Yeah.
it, but now we've gotten to a
Now
point that
at first, yeah, it was
it's
stressful.
good.
Now it's like,
Yeah.
I
cool,
could
actually.
never
Yeah.
thought that, being
Yeah.
a law aviation
Yeah.
law student is
yeah,
You would have
so
something-
much
Papa
fun.
India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Papa
I should get a
India.
tattoo. Just, like
Just have
Papa
Papa India
Yeah.
tattooed on the arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like a little heart.
Yeah.
would you go for the fifth question?
Fifth one. Okay. Well, do you think being a pilot is more than just a certain set of skill? What does the pilot do when he is in a bad mood?
Breakdown, for example.
has a
I'm just really
breakdown.
wondering. Because,
Ooh.
okay, you're having a break,
That's-
I don't
yeah.
know. You're breaking up with a girlfriend or
Have a
whoever,
bad time.
and
yeah.
you're like, okay, I should
Yeah.
go and fly this thing now. But I don't want to do that. I want to just, cuddle a pillow.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
want to eat Nutella.
Cry and watch
Cry.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
exactly.
get that.
And drink.
And,
Yeah.
and drink.
ice
yeah.
cream, just ice cream
Yeah.
binge.
So, what do you do?
Yeah, that's actually that's another class that we have.
There's
Is,
a class for
is, like,
everything,
It's
yeah.
human factors, talking about.
We had that today before this. We actually had it.
It's
Yeah.
human factors, so it's dealing with like the psychological and physical things, just attributes
About
of a
the
pilot.
human.
Can you share some techniques?
Well, to dealing
Oh,
with
like
things. What's a lot? Yeah, a lot of it is like stress management and things, but we haven't talked about. I don't think we've talked about psychological effects. Mostly,
no,
we've only talked.
we haven't
mostly-
got there yet.
Yeah,
But you have
mostly-
so cool classes on your studying. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm
Because
saying.
that's
They're all
important.
they're
It's a
all
bit-
really interesting,
Yeah.
and they get complicated.
It's
Like they
today
get
we talked about hypoxia, which is the basically the lack of oxygen. So when you get to a certain altitude, obviously the oxygen outside isn't enough for us to to get enough oxygen to our brain. So we start saying and doing things that we normally wouldn't.
yeah,
And so obviously as a pilot, that's not good.
because you're
when you're
flying
flying an
40,000
aircraft,
feet
yeah, yeah.
in the air.
So,
and
but we were talking about why that happens. Talking about this is the medical side of things
Yeah.
of like.
it's
how to
mostly a medical class,
Yeah,
honestly.
But it's also good because it gives us the effect, like what will happen if we're getting hypoxic, and that meaning we're getting sick. So it was like short-term memory loss,
Yeah.
nausea, things like that. So if we start experiencing symptoms, we as pilots can be
Yeah.
like, hang on, something's not
But to
right.
answer your question, we haven't got there yet.
We haven't got there yet.
But there are
yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of things like aviation it's all about like standardization, where it's like,
Yeah.
how would you word it? Like, you can mess up, but there's always like a checklist, or there's always like a way to redundancy, for instance.
Yeah.
And so like if you're like mad at something, then obviously you're gonna have like a co-pilot or like another pilot that would like check you.
Hopefully.
It's like if you're not paying it, hopefully,
Hopefully, yeah.
if it's a safe environment, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll always have someone like I guess watching over you, and it's like if you do something stupid, then obviously they can report it, and then you'll because like you want to be safe in the air, and so
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
but that's the thing, because you cannot just go to
Yeah.
the airport one day and say, guys, I'm taking the day off. And
Exactly, no,
we
yeah.
want to cuddle the pillow. And
yeah.
And that's the hard part is like especially trying to make sure that there's an even kind of understanding between all pilots that like even on the worst day you keep a level head. It's like you're performing a task and keeping people safe. Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting from point A to point B
Exactly,
safely.
and
So-
safely, yeah.
And so in that case, it should just be on you
Yeah.
to make sure that like.
I think our student have a question.
Okay.
Okay.
regarding your position at Lazarski University.
Ah,
who
yeah,
is,
Yeah.
So the first question is: have you been studying at university in Poland? Meaning your experience of how
Yes.
much time?
Just one. I came last year, so 1 year. But then
I'm new.
Now I'm about to be 1 year at Lazarski.
So you
Yeah.
came 1 year ago, and you
Yes.
were studying at
Polytechnico Warszawska.
Polytechnico Warszawska at the Faculty of.
Aerospace engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I did 1 week of electrical engineering.
Yeah.
A whole 1 week.
One
Yeah,
week.
It's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
alright.
then
Yeah.
you're here. So you both, because we have another question. Pierson on the left is
Okay.
a first year student, and Kolton,
Yep.
you,
Yeah.
is a second year. That's
Yeah.
not right, or that is right.
No,
We're both first year.
We're both
Yeah.
first year
So you're
students.
you're first year
Yeah.
students. So
I
just
we're
have one
brothers,
extra,
and so
yeah.
it makes it a lot easier,
Yeah.
kind of writing off each other.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is no
Yeah.
difference between your years. You're just first year
No.
students, and you're together.
I'd have more
And-
engineering experience.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I have a week.
Talking about this, whole situation in the on the plane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know that a lot? Well, you certainly do. That a lot of people are afraid of height.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Do you think that the experience that you're gonna get, and the love, and the fact that you've chosen this faculty is because you want to experience these feelings? So what do you say? What would you say to a person who's, for me, if I'm coming to you and
Yeah.
I'm saying like, I'm not gonna come with you to this plane because I'm not afraid of
Yeah.
height, and
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna take this.
You actually like. I mean, we're like, I guess, thrill seekers. Like, we love like roller coasters and all that. So like heights don't bother or
Yeah.
doesn't bother
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
But honestly, like, I mean, it's easy for us to say because it doesn't bother us. But like when you're in like a plane, like think about it. Like if you're flying in like a big plane, like you don't really think about. I mean, obviously you're way high in the air, but you don't think about it. And it's the same in like a small plane, like a general aviation plane. Is like, yeah, you realize you're super high up, but you also realize how safe it is because
Yeah.
like flying is like one of the, I think it's the safest
Yeah.
form of transportation.
And I think would like especially help with someone who either had the fear of heights or even fear of flying is like it's the idea that like if you're the one in control of the actual
It
like
makes
you're the
it
one flying,
you feel better.
you feel
Yeah.
a lot more like secure. It's kind of like driving. Like if you drive with someone who drives crazy, if you're the passenger, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But if you're the one driving, then you're like, yeah, okay,
It's like,
me,
I
I'm
have
the one
it, yeah.
driving. So I think the same thing with flying is like
Yeah.
it's like if you let the person fly for just a little bit, I think they would get over it just because of the fact that like I'm in control. I understand what's going on.
Yeah, and you realize it's
Yeah.
really not that scary.
Because
like,
even we just flew this past weekend and we were
Yeah.
like 1,800 feet,
yeah.
and it.
And
It
we
was
were,
1,800.
Yeah,
Well,
I just
Yeah.
I say it so
And we
casually. I
did-
say it
we
so
were
casually.
doing,
I
It's a
like-
little bit
but it's
1,800.
like
It was fine.
that's extreme. I mean, not extremely high in
Yeah.
compared, but like it's really high up there. But it's like
Yeah.
you don't feel like you're
no,
that high.
and,
up.
like
You're
we even
yeah,
hit turbulence, and so like we're bouncing around, but it's like fun.
so much fun.
Yeah.
We have so many questions from the students. I don't know what to do. So can
That's good. Thank you
you
guys.
read this one?
Can I combine this one with ours?
Exactly.
Okay, the question from student: what's the most challenging thing for each one of you in this course? And I would add one thing. And what is the coolest thing about this?
I would say that the hardest thing for us to learn thus far has actually been, it's actually referring to more of the law side of things, is European Union law. That's just because
It's difficult for us
yeah,
because we're
we've
not used to it.
Because because like going through high school in the United States, all we learned was U.S. government. We never learned anything about. We knew what the European Union was, but not how it functioned or how it worked. So then we had to take college level classes of the European Union. So it was a learning curve, but I think that was hard just to get used to it. But now we're in EU internal market law, and it's like okay. Yeah,
now
it's like,
I
now
think
it's
we know
okay.
more about like European Union law
Than
than we do about the United
US
States. So now
government,
it's like flipped,
Yeah.
which is interesting, and
Yeah.
we love it.
But I think it was just the EU stuff at the beginning, but
Yeah, but again, we had like you were saying the like introduction classes. So they really our professors helped out so
Yeah.
much for like because they understood like hey this is new for you, and so
it helped us out a lot.
it helped us out a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the coolest thing, what would you say the
Are you satisfied? Just
Yeah.
while you're thinking,
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you satisfied with because we're in Poland, you're from
Yeah.
America,
Yeah.
the language of your teachers, the material,
absolutely.
and
absolutely yeah
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
we've never had an issue.
no
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, and it's fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's nice.
and it's there'll be like a word that they'll forget, and so it's we have like a job like oh
Yeah,
you're
we'll fill
thinking
in
of
the word.
this,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
fill in the word.
But
so
then they also help us with Polish.
They'll
because
help
then,
us with
like, they'll
Polish.
say it in English.
it's
and
like
then but if you
Agatha,
wanna
she was
know-
teaching
yeah.
us Polish.
Yeah, she said, but
Yeah.
if you want to know what it is in Polish, and we're like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So then we learn it in Polish. Then we
Yeah.
kind of it works.
But no, there's
backwards.
never like a language problem.
Yeah. It's
They're
always fantastic.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to say we didn't pay these people. To,
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, we're not paid
This
actors.
is like
This
over the
is
table,
everything.
like yeah.
And I think you're doing a great, promotion of your faculty
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we're super satisfied because it's
Yeah.
100% of your honesty and of
Oh,
your
for
real
sure. Yeah.
experience.
Yeah,
not
that's
just
the thing is
from-
like we haven't had any complaints.
No,
It's
there hasn't been anything.
fantastic this entire time we've been
It's
here.
hard. Like I would be
Yeah.
lying if I said it was easy, but I mean it's
You're learning to be a freaking
Well, yeah,
pilot.
and that's the
It's
thing,
not
it's
that
like-
the
easy.
thing is it's like
it's stressful, but it's
Yeah.
it's like the good stress, like if that exists, because we have something to work towards, like we're working
Yeah.
towards like our like
pilot, yeah.
being a pilot, so it's
Yeah.
like you know
Working
why you're
towards
doing
the-
it,
yeah.
you know why we're here.
Then I get to be the respected captain. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Then someone
you
else
can
is
be
like,
the
"Oh,
guy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the coolest thing?
The coolest thing.
Oh man.
For,
I actually
for
I,
each of you, because I think that you have different coolest
Yeah,
and
yeah.
worst things.
I think the coolest thing for me is probably Yatik, our flight mentor.
Yeah. Okay. That I'm gonna agree with. Yeah. That one.
Yeah. So like he was saying, we have a flight mentor who is he's a captain for a lot of airlines for the 787, and so he helps a lot. He's affiliated with the school, but he's not like a professor. So he purely is just
He just
helping us
exposes us
get
to
through the
aviation.
program. So he like he was saying, like this past weekend we flew in a 1940
De
Havilland Chipmunk, which is like
yeah.
a old plane, and he just flies us because he wants to
Yeah,
expose
his,
us.
His like idea is to expose us to as much about aviation as possible, whether it be old,
Yeah.
new, and so he just wants us because he was talking about a good pilot back in the golden era of pilots was like in the after the 1940s. So after World War II, you had all the fighter pilots that became commercial pilots, but they understood everything about aviation because they were flipping around and doing things, and so then when they became commercial pilots, they were able to handle like stressful situations or things. So he tries to like we did acrobatics with him.
We
in
do
the
like
plane.
the loops in the plane
Yeah.
and then the
And
like
so-
stalls.
Yeah,
And
because his thing was, not that we ever should be in that scenario
Yeah.
that the plane is upside down, but if it was, you'll train us.
But
to
he's making us
yeah,
more
he's just
comfortable.
saying
Yeah.
that we'll be better
So
pilots.
Greetings to Mr. Jacek.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Thank
if he's
you.
watching, yeah. But yeah, no, it's really cool because like, again, it's nice to see all the theory classes because obviously we spend a lot of time on the computer now because of COVID, learning about like how an aircraft works. But it's hard to know how it works unless you're actually seeing it in person
Yeah.
and understanding it. It's like general knowledge about the aircraft. Like we unloaded an engine, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
and
we-
so then
we
he was
rolled that up,
pointing out
yeah.
like this is like the
carburetor,
carburetor and
yeah.
stuff like that. So he helps out a lot with. I guess connecting the dots almost. So
Yeah.
I'd say he's probably the coolest part.
I'd agree. I feel like yeah.
Yeah, he's a
It's
really
just-
awesome
it's just
guy.
because it's just everything comes together with him. Yeah, it's nice. It's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
He helps out a lot. Yeah.
He will be pleased to hear that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
We have actually another question from the guy who I think was just a little bit late for the starting. He said, why have you chosen this country? So we're going to answer that way. It's going to be available on the YouTube and in the full version, but you just chosen a quick
Yeah.
repeat because you just found that on the internet and you wanted to
wanted to
become
go. Like,
pilots.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Back in the United States of
Yeah.
America, they just Googled and Lazarski University came
Yeah.
up and they're like, good, this is the
Let's go.
country we've been
Yeah.
dreaming about for
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
our
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
life in United
Yeah.
States of
A century,
America.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Give or take.
here they are. Okay, another question from the student. Did you ever experience culture shock after moving, or was the transition smooth? Because you have different culture.
Yeah.
w-
Oh, for
we
sure.
all
Yeah,
have,
for sure.
right?
Um,
What was the most outrageous thing that you were like?
I would
what?
say, I mean, there was definitely culture shock, but there was nothing that was like
Nothing that
whoa.
was bad.
Like one thing, and
Yeah.
it's so silly, but like in our apartment in the United States, there's no zero floor. Meaning, like when you're in an apartment, which is
Yeah.
funny because it doesn't even like it's just
It's just
stupid
one.
because it's an elevator.
Yeah.
But there's no. It's like the first floor is the first floor. There's no
Yeah.
like.
There's no zero floor.
There's no zero floor. So
Yeah.
that was kind of funny because
That was that wasn't necessarily culture shock. That was just us being like, what?
we're just stupid. Yeah.
I can share the
Yeah.
struggle actually.
I can share
Yeah.
the struggle too because it's
Yeah.
the same.
Oh,
okay,
really?
So then
Yeah.
you know what
Oh,
we're talking about.
Then
yeah,
you know
it's-
what we're talking about. Yeah.
I still make mistakes all the time
'Cause,
where
like-
I'm like, is it 2, 3, 1? I'm like,
It's-
I don't
yeah.
know.
You're a pilot, but you can.
I know.
Yeah.
Or even that was like when we were trying to unlock the door and we couldn't unlock the door, and it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
there was like 3 of us standing around, one who is a pilot, 2 of us who are training to be
Yeah.
pilots. We couldn't open the door, and you were like, you would think the 3 of us, 2 who were training to be pilots, and,
Yeah.
and the pilot would be able to open the door, but
Yeah.
we couldn't.
What was the problem? Or were you just?
The like lock wouldn't work.
Yeah,
like,
you had to pull the door and then try to open it.
It
but
was
we
hard
didn't
to
know
open.
that, so we were just kind of
now we know. Now when we open the door,
yeah,
it's
thank
like
God
a
no one was watching, so like it wasn't like it
the
wasn't
security
like,
camera was probably
yeah,
the security guy was laughing at
probably
us.
just
Yeah.
laughing at us,
But no, as far as like
Yeah.
culture shock, I'm trying. There's
No, I
really
don't think-
nothing.
Besides,
No.
besides like language barrier, but I mean,
I mean,
that was
there's
just-
an obvious
but I feel
language
like
barrier,
that's
but
kind of to be expected. And I
Did you have any problems related to the thing that you don't speak any Polish?
I mean, there's.
No,
we wish we spoke Polish.
Dan, I'm
Yeah,
trying
to
learn.
clarify, we don't speak Polish. Like,
Yeah.
we're not fluent in
Yeah.
Polish whatsoever.
Can you say
None.
something?
Cześć. Anyway.
Przepraszam, nie mówię po polsku.
Super. Well,
Yeah.
Tak, yeah.
I'm sorry I don't
Okay.
speak Polish if
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah.
Polish. That's what that means, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But we've, especially here in Warsaw, I've never had any issues.
no, and everyone for the most part speaks English, and
Yeah.
they're super helpful.
Yeah.
And so like, no, like even going to like the grocery store, like
Yeah.
you can kind of make out like what.
Yeah.
Okay, like do you want a bag? Yeah. Like no, I don't want a bag. So stuff like that. It's not like
It's like receipt.
yeah, it's not like life or death where
Yeah.
it's like oh I have to
Yeah.
know Polish.
But yeah.
I would
Okay.
say the transition was really smooth.
Smooth, yeah. It's
Yeah.
nice.
coming to the culture stuff.
Mhm.
I have a question. That was
Okay.
my question, and that is question number 8. That is just for you. Is it true? Very important question I am thinking about. Is it true that pilots are not allowed to drink and smoke because of the health condition?
Yes and no. Again,
Whatever it means,
Wow, that was
yes and
very
no.
exclusive,
No,
but
okay.
yes, but
it comes back to like air law, like the man possibilities and limitations. So like you can't.
generically no. Well,
Generically, no.
Health-wise, for like long-term health things, because
Yeah.
obviously for the rest of our lives, so long as we are still flying, we'll
But
always
like,
have to get a
okay,
medical
come on.
check.
We're trained to be pilots. Like you gotta like loosen up a little bit. You gotta like a little.
And I
a
think
beer.
that is the
We're not-
advantage
Yeah.
advantage of the culture shock because you are 19.
Oh, that's a huge bonus of being here. Yeah, I'm 18, and so
18.
in the United States, obviously you have to be 21 to drink. So I'm in heaven here because I can go to the store and just buy a beer, and it makes me really happy. I know it's silly, but it makes me really happy.
He's over
I'm
like
not
a
an
little kid, he's
alcoholic, I promise.
But does it really make the difference? Can you
I
really?
would say no. Meaning, I would say you're allowed to drink. I mean, obviously, like you can't like smoke every day.
But
You
yeah,
can't
there's
drink every day.
there's regulations that while you're flying, you can't have. It's kind of like driving a car.
Yeah.
There's like a level or
You,
an
like you
extent,
can't drink. I think it's
Yeah.
like 24 hours before a flight,
but
for
and
instance.
the level is way lower than it is for like drinking and driving.
Oh, like the
because
like
it has
alcohol
to be, it has to
level.
be
Yeah.
like trace amount, very very small, because of the fact you're flying 100.
But like yeah, like I had a beer this weekend, and it was like I'm not like trying to get drunk. Like it's just a beer, like a casual beer. But it doesn't.
what
But
about
we didn't. But we didn't fly afterwards. So this is what
Smoking,
We'll
I-
clarify
I
that
don't
we didn't
smoke,
fly
no.
after we.
Personally, I don't smoke, and
Yeah,
I
right,
feel
yeah.
like it's probably not a good idea to smoke if you want to become a pilot
Pilot,
because
in a long term, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Because you
for
can
the
have-
medical check, they checked our oxygen level.
Yeah.
Like we had to. It was kind of funny. It's like a tube, and you like
You blow into the tube, and
To
it's
check
funny
your
because
oxygen, yeah.
there's like a computer, and so it has like a little chart, and it's like the average person, so it has this little line that goes up.
Yeah.
So it was funny because I was trying to like blow as much as I could because I wanted to be like above the line, so I'd be like, like yes,
yeah,
my lungs are better. you
yeah.
know?
But
Yeah.
I would say you could drink more than you can smoke. I would
Yeah.
say smoking, because
Cool.
we even
Guys, that's an
we made
advice.
that, we
Take
made
it
that
as an
question way
advice.
more complex than it should have been. Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, another question from the studio.
Student. Okay. Which is your favorite model of plane you would love to fly one day?
Ooh.
That's a nice
That's
one.
an
Yeah.
exciting
Ooh,
one.
I'm really excited. Thank you.
That might. Hey, the what is it? The competition question.
I knew it.
Might be it. That might be the one. We have a Shimon who's in our class. He's crazy about the Dash 8. And I don't know.
Dash
He
8,
might be watching.
yeah.
So hey, Shimon. I
Yeah,
don't know if you're
Shimon.
here, but Dash 8. It's funny. Every
Yeah.
time we see a Dash 8, he goes nuts. But personally,
I go Boeing Stearman. Like it was a 1940s biplane trainer airplane that it was for U.S. airmen. But I don't know. I'm a huge fan of like Indiana Jones / like adventure stuff. So like
Yeah.
any biplanes, I love biplanes.
Yeah.
And the Boeing Stearman, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's my.
I think I like the Cirrus SR-22, which is I don't know how to explain it. It's super expensive.
Super
Probably
sleek
never
and
be able to
advanced,
afford to
yeah.
buy it.
I'm
But
gonna use the Google app
Oh,
after
yeah,
we finish
yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's-
Need to
you
write
can-
this down and
yeah.
check it out
You can see
after.
the difference between. He's got the sleek SR-22.
oh, it's sleek. You got the
closed,
like glass
and I'm over
cockpit.
here like with the
and-
little leather hat on with the scarf.
yeah.
But what would you choose to fly? Again, I don't understand anything
Yeah,
that I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it might be
Yeah.
stupid.
That's okay.
Most probably it's gonna be
It's okay,
stupid.
it's okay.
What would you choose? And is there any difference between flying a little plane from Warsaw
Yeah.
to Krakow
Mhm.
or a huge
Huge plane,
plane
yeah.
where you have beds,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pool?
Yeah.
Can you have a pool
Yeah.
in the plane?
I mean,
You could.
massive
yeah.
balance wise, it would probably be
Or
really
in a
bad.
restaurant,
But
whatever.
technically, I guess you could.
Yeah,
if
why
you-
not?
Okay.
Why not? Yeah.
Why
party
not?
plane.
Just, you
Well,
know,
party plane.
Yeah.
with, with two floors.
There's
like
no
a
new model of the
80.
plane. You just give an idea.
Can you? I mean, Is it an elevator in the plane? Or?
It's a spiral
I had the
staircase.
pleasure of flying on an
I'm so mad.
A380.
I didn't get to fly it. He did.
So it's an Airbus A380, which is what you're talking about. It's like the double
Thank
decker.
you for letting me know.
Yeah, and it basically it's kind of cool. It's like a little staircase, and you kind of go up the staircase, and it was cool because anyway, they just made the last one. Unfortunately, anyone who's like an aviation geek, like they just made the last one.
Long story short, because of all the COVID stuff, long haul flights are becoming less and less common.
Yeah.
Because people aren't wanting to fly.
That's
so
another
the
thing we could
huge
talk about,
jumbo
yeah.
jets, the A380s, the 747s, those are slowly getting like cycled out. They're getting rid of them. Yes.
Do you need to check and to make a plane work constantly?
Yes.
And
Yes.
if it doesn't, if it just stays
Yeah.
without the business for
Yeah.
a long time, it's just
There's
There's been a
daily
bunch of-
maintenance checks and
Yeah, and especially a lot of airlines now, it's been a big issue because of the fact that some of the aircraft have been sent away because there's no demand, no one's
Right.
flying. I know that was huge in the United States, especially like even domestic travel.
Yeah.
There was all these airlines that were like, we have, I'm just gonna make something up, 30 airplanes, and we're only using like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And so it was like those poor planes were just sitting there, but then that becomes a maintenance issue because
because they're just sitting cold and
yeah.
So can you just answer my?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
sorry,
The question:
So
is
just
it
we
any
skipped it.
difference between flying a huge
There
house
is.
Yes.
or just a little plane?
It's difficult because like there is a difference. There's an obvious size difference, but as far as like the technicalities of actually flying, I would say they're fairly similar. I mean, there's more complex systems with like let's say like the A380 compared to like a A320.
Yeah. Or even because I'm thinking like almost jump between like Cessna to A380. Like a small airplane is gonna have very like basic rudimentary systems
Right.
to fly you place to place, but then you have like the A380, which is going to have
Right.
thousands of.
And then there's obviously
systems.
differences between like Boeing and Airbus. They have
Yeah.
different systems. Like Airbus is like a side stick, where Boeing
Yeah.
is like an actual yoke.
Yeah. But it's,
They all, I mean, an airplane's an airplane. Like they all, I mean, yes, of course there's differences, but as far
I'd
as
say-
like,
I'd say
But for
yeah,
you,
there's
I mean, what would be more? Do you think that there is more joy in one of the?
I would say there's probably more joy in flying something that's smaller, just because it's.
yeah,
You get to do
you-
it's like you do you. Like you can just fly where you want to
Yeah.
go, that kind of thing. Whereas if you're flying the big stuff, it's fun in terms of because it's obviously very satisfying to fly something.
and you get
that's
paid
that-
for it.
And
Yeah.
well, obviously, and that would be your job.
Yeah.
But I think more satisfaction would be something smaller. I would say.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Can you
Thanks
ask
for
that
that.
question
Yeah.
about the model?
Can you ask this one because I think it's kind of interesting. We didn't ask that.
But this relates to the topic we're discussing.
Ah, okay, yes, sure. I don't understand what is related to the topic or not, so thank you for telling me this.
Go for it.
Okay, guys, there is a question about the model of the
Okay,
plane.
yeah,
As far
yeah,
as I understand, it's like VTOL.
VTOL, yeah.
VTOL.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a-
Yeah.
like
Is it
a-
cool or
like
not?
a VTOL,
It's
like
the-
warship?
No,
No, not warship. No,
What are
war.
you thinking of?
Yeah,
I'm
No.
thinking like
Okay,
Call of
okay,
Duty,
okay,
like the
it's-
VTOL.
Okay, a VTOL, it's basically like a helicopter that can become an airplane.
Ah.
So like it's the okay. So
Transformer?
Like, I'll describe it. Imagine like an airplane body, right? It's like a long
Okay.
tube, and then you have like on the sides. I'm trying to make like arms. It's these two little like
Touchdown.
basically like propellers.
Can
that stick
studio
up.
make a screenshot of that, please?
but when it goes, it takes off like vertically like a helicopter, and as it gets higher and higher, it can start rotating those like blades forward, and it becomes an airplane.
How does that work with like licensing? Do
I
you get a
know-
helicopter?
I have no idea.
See,
We
that's
don't even know.
crazy.
Is it cool? The question was if it's cool or not.
Oh no,
Oh,
it's definitely,
it's definitely
cool. No,
cool.
it's definitely really
I don't know
cool.
how it
And I
works,
think
but it's definitely
the
cool.
systems for that must be like again, respect to those pilots because like
Yeah.
that's crazy because you have there's differences between flying a helicopter and then flying an airplane, and so helicopter mechanics are completely different in terms of how they work.
Like
And now you're
even-
in a VTOL you're flying both.
That's what I'm
So-
saying. I don't. Do
Yeah,
you need both
you'd have to
licenses? I don't know.
you'd have to understand the principles of both, and that's beyond us. that's I don't think I'm gonna fly VTOL. Yeah, it's kind
Probably
of
not.
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, question that we have now is since the day you applied for your degree, have you become even more interested in visiting aviation museums?
Yes, actually.
We were already huge aviation fans
Yeah.
even before coming here, but yes, I mean
Yeah.
just because.
No, and now we're like little kids when we see an airplane because
yeah.
you're like, oh look, airplane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
'cause
we're that
it's-
guy.
yeah,
We're like,
yeah.
oh look, airplane.
Like we
were-
went to Warsaw Chopin Airport
To
just
go plane spotting.
plane spotting. yeah,
Now
watch
you
planes
have
come in.
two toys, planes right
Yeah.
there in your pockets from Lazarski University marketing department.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
See,
you
that's
do.
news to us. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Make
No,
this
yeah,
worth it.
'cause when we were small kids, our parents took us to like just aviation museums in general, and so it was always interesting, especially as a little kid. Airplanes are always cool because it's
Oh
just
yeah, for
something
sure. It's
cool to see. But I think especially now that we understand more and more about how those planes fly, that you're like, oh, now it's really sophisticated.
oh yeah. No, I would say
Yeah.
definitely it's piqued our interest even more,
of
especially now
course.
that we're actually learning about it
Yeah.
rather than just being like a observer.
Because then you're looking and you're like, can I fly it? Like, could
Yeah,
I fly
yeah,
it?
the
Yeah.
logistics, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What? Yeah. Oh, we have a question. Very interesting question. Can you read that?
Okay, since this is the question from student, what do you think about Polish girls?
Interesting question.
Interesting. Well, I guess I can take the bullet.
Yeah.
I would say, compared to I don't want to offend anyone in the U.S. if you're watching in the U.S.,
No.
but comparatively to the U.S., I would say more attractive. Yeah.
Beautiful nation.
Beautiful
Let's
nation, beautiful
sum it up.
answer.
Beautiful nation.
Everyone's beautiful.
Everyone's beautiful.
Thank you.
Everyone's
That was a
beautiful.
perfect
There's-
answer. Thank you.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you. We
everyone's
can
beautiful.
finish the
Thank you very
episode. Okay. Another question. I would like to switch to this one because it's
Okay,
really like
but we
wow.
have this one and this one. Jesus, we have so many questions. So we have 3 of them. Choose whatever you like.
Yeah, but I would like to start with
Okay.
this one. There are for sure risks of flying,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
general, of course.
Interesting.
Do you have a story you came across that stands out for you? You're like, wow.
So it's not necessarily like a story that we've lived through, but
No,
it's
no,
like
no,
someone
no.
else's.
In general,
I mean, I think it would.
which is an example for you, let's
Yeah.
say.
I would say the easiest example would obviously be Captain Soley landing on the Hudson. Would be
Oh, yeah.
an emergency situation. But I actually think one that's a little bit. I think.
Can I just stop you for a
Yeah,
second?
yeah, yeah. Oh.
Now we're even more little kids. Now we're
Yes.
gonna be like in our like apartment, like like.
And you have
Two
the
of
Yeah,
second
them,
like-
two
one.
of them.
yeah,
So
You're
don't
gonna have
worry.
competitions.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I
We
just
can race
wanted,
them.
you
We
know,
can-
to hand
No,
it to you.
we can have like a little string.
That's
and you
so
can hang it on the
awesome.
ceiling, so it looks like it's
Oh my
flying.
goodness, that's even.
See,
has
we're
Lazar-
children. We're basically children.
That's so
what
cool.
we're
What
getting
does it have?
It has Lazarski on it.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool.
Well,
We're little kids. Is
That's so
basically what
awesome.
we're getting at.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
so
the
now you
logo.
have 2 of them. Does it look the same does it look similar to the plane that you have the trainings on?
Well, that's a little bigger than. Well, I mean, not that. This is like I have to allow me to get in. You know.
Yeah.
No, but this would be more like a 747.
I
We're
would
not,
say,
we're not
yeah.
there yet.
Yeah.
You know,
To
we'll get
win,
there
yeah.
eventually. But
So
no,
this is the goal.
this is the goal. This is the goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I just
Oh, yeah.
interrupted you when
Yes,
you were
sorry.
talking
No,
about
no,
some
no.
serious
So
stuff
excited,
here.
yeah.
The curious moment of this episode, so I like this so
Again,
much. So
like
coming
we're
back
children.
to this
Yeah.
example story.
Ah,
like-
yes.
No, I think the craziest story was it's called the Gimli glider, and I think it was an Air Canada flight. Anyway, it was over the Atlantic Ocean, and all the engines completely cut out. They burned out. What happened was there was a fuel imbalance. They didn't put enough fuel, and the pilots did everything correctly.
Yeah.
The ground crew didn't put enough fuel, so the engines just burned out. So they had to glide for like over an hour all the way down to a runway that was never designed to have that big of an airplane, but everyone made it. Like everyone
Yeah.
survived.
I think
But-
this ties back also to like aviation is like super safe. Like to your
Yeah.
question,
There's always
Yeah.
it's
there's always-
super
yeah.
safe, honestly. Like
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you'll hear about like the big incidents, and obviously there's crashes every now and then. And like our mentor, like he was saying, like in one of his planes, like the engine cuts out, and it's like it just cuts out. Like the whole engine cuts
Yeah.
out, and he was
But
so
the
casual about
idea,
it.
Yeah, but the idea behind aviation is like to make it as safe as possible. So
It-
and
it's really
also
safe,
to train
honestly.
us as pilots to make sure that if there is an emergency situation, we're fine. Like it's like okay, we'll just do what we have
Right.
to do. Because it's like aviate, navigate, communicate. It's like the biggest thing. Fly the plane first.
I remember
Yeah,
that in lectures. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the first
Yeah.
thing they teach you. Is just
I would
to-
go to the flight where you are the pilots.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're saying, you know,
Confidence.
with
Yeah.
about the things that are very complicated and scary
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
just,
It's
you
really
know,
not that
And that's the
scary.
thing. I think a lot of people are afraid of aviation just because, even like commercial planes, because it
Right.
is scary. Because it's like it's
Yeah,
weird.
because
The idea of flying in a small metal tube, you know, at 30,000 feet in the air is
well,
yeah, it's a really weird idea, but when you understand that like all those people that are they're trained to keep you safe.
and now that we know how much work it takes to become a pilot,
Yeah, we're like now I feel
now
extra
we
safe.
now we feel
I'm like
extra
that guy.
safe 'cause
Trust
we're
me,
like,
that guy's gone through
that
a
guy
lot.
knows what he's
that
doing.
guy knows
yeah.
what he's doing. I give respect to the captain.
Yeah.
can I have a quick question? Just a
Yeah.
quick
Oh,
question.
yeah.
How many years it takes to become a pilot?
Ooh, it depends.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
that's actually a good
Yeah,
topic.
that's
Thank
yes.
you.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, that actually is a good topic for the university. So our program is an integrated program, which basically means
go from one license to the next.
It's super
No lag
accelerated.
time.
So
There's
I
no
guess I
delay.
can, if anyone's interested. So we get our private license like this summer is what we're aiming for, which is PPL, and then we'll get like IFR rated, which is instrument flight
Yeah,
rules,
yeah.
and then like night rated, and then we'll get like multi-engine rated, and then commercially rated for like
Yeah.
jet airplanes.
Yeah.
So it'll take us, I guess, 3 years, right?
3 years.
3 years to
3
go
years
from
is
0 to ATPL.
Well, that's not a lot.
It's not a lot,
No.
but however, and that's a big selling point for the university, and one of the
Yeah,
reasons why we
what we're
chose
doing.
it. If you do it on your own, it can take upwards to like 5 to 6 years.
Because
If you're doing it on your own
because it's on
time.
your own time, meaning it's not built
Yeah.
in, and which is also nice. But with like our program though, is because the flight classes are built in next to the law classes.
Right.
So it's like we're doing them both in the same day.
Again,
So like
2 birds with 1 stone.
yeah. So then it's like we're getting those hours every single day, and so then it just builds up. And
Yeah,
so
like
we
we were
speed the
talking about.
process
Yeah,
up.
we will be at the airport like every single day flying. Which, if you're doing it on your own, you'll do it maybe once or twice a week.
Maybe
So
on a
you can
weekend,
see where
yeah.
it'll be super
Yeah.
quick,
So
which
it's
is exciting for
predictable.
us. It's stressful. I would say it's more stressful than doing it on your own
because
because
it's just one to the next.
it's one.
But
It's boom, boom,
having
boom.
said that, you're also going one to the next. So you're getting
Yeah.
next to the next.
So like
coolest
I'll
thing.
be
Yeah.
a first officer, hopefully, at 21, which is like mind blowing
Yeah.
to think that like my friends will still be in like university when I'm like a first
Yeah.
officer. Yes, hopefully.
crossed.
Think-
Yeah.
If everything goes,
Yeah,
The whole
yeah.
university is
Yeah.
sitting like this now.
It's been good so far, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, shall we go to? Can I ask you just one question?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
very. Do you have a final exam like the defense of your thesis we have on management and economic faculties, or it's a little bit different?
We have. I don't think we have necessarily like a thesis at the end.
I think
But we-
our form of exam are the 14 tests he spoke of,
ATPL
Okay.
tests.
Okay.
which are
And so, but with
for our
our
license.
we
yeah.
may for our law classes. We're not that I'm not entirely sure on yet. We do have finals. Like every semester we have normal finals.
Yeah, we
But
passed.
for like a big final at the very end. I'm not really for sure if we have to do a thesis or not.
Well, you're a first year student, so good luck with
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
to know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, can you help me with this question? Yeah, I think they're the same. This one and this one.
Yeah, I think so. I'll just read the second one, okay? Do you have something like a dream place you would like to fly to?
Ooh,
Fly
I think
over
Australia
that
for
place.
me.
City, maybe.
I've
Australia.
always wanted to go to Australia.
Crikey.
Crikey, yeah.
With a lot of spiders.
Lot
Just
of-
walking
yeah,
around
I
your
know it's-
buddy.
Ooh,
Yeah,
snakes.
spiders,
and
Saying
snakes,
hi.
great white sharks.
But like I want to see like a hold a koala. You know how nice that would be like to hold a
oh,
koala.
see that's the Instagram coming in. It's the Instagram
Like
picture.
one of our
where you're like,
professors, Mateusz.
oh yeah.
He has a
yeah,
picture
yeah,
with a koala, and I
he
was
has
so
a picture.
jealous because he had a koala, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah. So basically, he just
What?
wants to
Are you,
fly there
are you
just
making
for the
fun of me
koala.
for like the koala?
Oh yeah, you're just so cute with this
Yeah,
showing this
a little-
koala.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the imaginary
Can
koala.
we
It's like
Photoshop
right
that
here.
for
Yeah,
him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
someone
now.
please Photoshop a koala so I can feel like I went to Australia.
Yeah.
I think Australia for me.
Okay,
though.
Australia. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. Tokyo Narita. I like to fly to Tokyo Narita at least once.
What?
I like
You've been
Tokyo.
there.
I've been there, but I want to fly there.
Oh, you want to fly there? Wait,
I
okay.
wanna
Is this
fly-
question like we want to
Okay,
fly there?
Yes.
Like we're the
That's
ones
still
flying.
Australia. Yeah. yeah.
I'd say Tokyo Narita. I'd like to go. I like Tokyo. I want to fly. Yeah.
Okay.
Tokyo.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
as cool as the koala. I mean.
I had a whole story with
Yeah,
my
you had a whole
koala.
like
yeah.
Koala is-
backstory
yeah.
and, yeah.
Ted. I don't know.
We're promising we're gonna Photoshop that.
Yes,
And
please.
that will be the cover photo for the
Be my-
Yeah, the
episode.
my
cover
profile
photo. Yes,
picture. just-
exactly.
yeah.
Okay. We did that. Now we have
Nice comment.
just one nice comment. I love these guys from marketing department.
Magda
girl,
Miczkowska.
Magda Miczkowska.
Greetings
She
to
loves
her.
you.
Ah, cheers.
Thank you.
And I think a lot of people have the same feeling about you guys today, because literally, we honestly have 3 minutes left, but I
Aw.
asked our wonderful guys that on that side, and we have 10 minutes more because I don't want to let you go,
Ooh,
and
Well,
we
thank
just
you.
because
feel
we
good.
have we
Okay,
have
okay.
questions, and it's really interesting. I mean, everything that
yeah.
you say today. Will you read that, please?
Is it hard to operate your steering shaft or yoke? Jesus, so
Ooh.
many new words. Sorry, don't know the term. Mid-air. How often do you need to help from the second pilot?
Okay.
Okay.
I was actually really surprised when when we started flying. It's like it's crazy sensitive,
Yeah, it's
but it doesn't
extremely
take a
sensitive.
lot to do something. So like you could
Yeah.
just like barely pull back on the stick, and
And
you're
you'll
gonna be
feel
going
it.
up.
Yeah.
So like I would say it's easy to actually control. It's
Yeah.
really not difficult.
A lot of times too, it's nice because even though the stick is or the yoke is super sensitive,
Yeah.
you can feel it just like in your body
Oh, yeah.
if you're moving up or down. So you can almost have like an internal like I don't know. You can internally keep yourself moving straight.
Yeah.
Because like when we flew last weekend, we were hitting a little bit of like turbulent stuff, but every
Yeah.
time I would adjust, you could feel that the plane would drop or move up. So it's like, but they're sensitive. And the other question about being the second pilot, a lot of it is just monitoring. Mostly it's like if the other guy's
Yeah.
flying, all you're doing is making sure that he asked just like, are the ignition switches on? Is the engine RPM, is it okay? Is the oil good? I mean, you're basically verifying what he's seeing, and you're just telling
and
him.
they do
yes,
that even at the commercial level.
Yeah.
Like we've had
It's like
experience with like
cross-checking.
simulators here, which the school has simulators, by the way,
Yeah.
really awesome, like an A320 and whatever. Yeah, that's another discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a lot of. I wouldn't say they're actually taking control. It's just a lot of cross-checking to make sure redundancy.
Also call-outs, because like especially if a pilot's landing, there's a lot that's going on. So the pilot's trying to focus on landing. So the other guy will be making like altitude call-outs saying you have 500 feet to the ground, or it'll be airspeed, like watch your airspeed, or
like
more
even
airspeed.
like talking to the like air traffic control. Like usually the pilot who's not flying is communicating, so the pilot can focus on flying.
So yeah. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
I had a question, and I honestly... Okay, it's gonna come back. We have this question. Can you read it? And I'm gonna focus on my thoughts.
Okay, sure. I'm like just your second pilot, okay?
Second pilot, yes.
there you
and
go.
it worked.
Yeah.
He actually did. It worked. So I got it.
She cross-checked. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
You can read it now.
Okay, so I think it's like a technical question. How many hours of flying have you clocked?
At the moment, none that we can necessarily.
We can't log any.
We can't log it.
However, we've flown, I'd say, probably
40 minutes,
40 to 45. And
The
but
reason
like we can't clock because
Yeah.
we're not like the pilot. We're
we're
technically
not
not the pilot command.
Yeah, so they call it like technically it's called the PIC, and it's the pilot in command. We weren't the pilot in command. We just flew for a small segment, and so we don't get to necessarily log that.
Yeah.
But once we start flying, then
we start practical training hopefully next month in April. We just have been waiting for the weather to get better. Plus,
weather and theory.
We have to finish our theory before we're allowed to like get in the airplane.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the question that we just got is a little bit related to mine, because I remember during one of the walks with Lazarski Student Help Desk, you've told me about this simulator. When you something that you understand what I'm talking about, and you're going to tell us more about that. And just, to combine these questions, the student is asking, is Lazarski University a place to learn how to fly a plane and stuff? So probably, I think so, that a student is asking, so do you really have the real equipment, the real trainings, and the real simul?
Yeah,
that's
a huge yes.
Yes.
Short answer.
Yes. We should have mentioned that from the very beginning. The university has partnered with Goldwing's Flight Academy, which is a flight school here in Warsaw, and so they coincide together. So like our actual flight training is through Goldwings. However, we have our university classes are technically
some of our professors are flight instructors.
Right.
So
it's not necessarily
we have our law professors that are just law professors, but then some of the aviation professors are flight instructors, and they're just telling us from Goldwings. They're just telling us what to
which is really cool because the planes we fly, it's like the Goldwings, but they have the Lazarski logo, almost exactly like this.
That.
I don't know if you can see that,
really looks
but it literally is like that.
Yeah.
And then we have an A320 simulator,
but full,
it's been commercially rated.
Yeah.
So you can log hours with it, it's the real deal. Yeah. And we've flown it once. It's scary.
And it was funny because there was another guy that was flying with us who knew what he was doing. We did not know what we were doing, and so obviously because we've just done the theory behind almost small airplanes, so to jump into a real Airbus A320 cockpit and to try to pretend that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so he was things would be flashing and it would be warnings, and he's like, don't worry about that. And you're like, no, I'm worrying about it.
When it's screaming at you.
I think this is terrifying. Yeah. But
and I actually think that we have, on the website and YouTube, we have this kind of videos that shows what exactly we have.
And we also have a personal use simulator that is obviously a much smaller scale, but it's
used for smaller airplanes to train us on to practice with small
stuff.
So
what we're trying to say here is that you don't just read books, you go to the real stuff.
Oh, we definitely have practical. Yeah, we definitely have.
And that ties back into Jacek, our flight mentor.
Jacek.
He's basically saying that we need to have hands-on as well as
he's the bridge between.
Yeah. But yes, planes, yes.
Okay, we have one more question, that is, what are your favorite type of plane? I guess you already that are different things. Probably it might be different things.
Yeah.
But
I
you
can
already
list a different airplane, but I mean, because I know a bunch.
I think you named the models, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So it's going to be on the YouTube in the full version. Guys already answered that. What is your favorite? Oh, Jesus, I've just read it. Sorry. How do you think? What is the best hub? I have no idea what I've just said.
Oh, hub.
As in
I think they're talking about an airport. I would say hub is airport. Yeah. Best. because it's all like relative. Like,
Yeah,
what do you think's the best? Meaning, like, there's no best. I would say probably my favorite is probably Tokyo Narita. I really enjoyed it, and I think that might have just been because we went to Tokyo, and I was like, Tokyo. But I really enjoyed the airport in Tokyo.
I just like Amsterdam. I think it's Schiphol, just because
we
it's
go
fun
there
to
so
say.
often.
It just is fun to say Schiphol.
Schiphol. Yeah,
So
and that's
I
like
like it.
when we fly
Yeah.
from we're from Texas, Houston.
Wait,
By the way.
Cowboy,
way to
yeah.
plug Texas.
Well, no, I'm just saying when we fly from Houston to like Warsaw, we have to stop in Schiphol. Schiphol.
I think so. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation. If anyone's Dutch, I am so sorry.
Yeah, so we're in Amsterdam a lot just from hopping,
Yeah.
but
And they have the cool announcement where they're like, "Thank you
it's
for
so
that."
big though.
Yeah.
It's a big
Yeah,
airport.
no, it's a really big airport.
You have to
which
like
is weird
run to
because
the
we
other
have to go-
side.
when we fly, we have to go from like the domestic side of like domestic within Europe to the international side. Well, it's on the opposite side of the airport, and usually
you're, like,
our flights
sprinting
are,
to the
yeah,
other
so
side,
It's sprinting, and it's
yeah.
really it's crazy. Like we know like now. Because we've done it. There's like there's a restaurant. There's one restaurant. We're like, okay, we're at the restaurant now. Like
Yeah.
it's like
It's like the
just-
mile marker. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay.
we're like, oh, okay, now we're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd say Amsterdam. I like Amsterdam. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Okay, thank you. What are other questions that we have? We actually have.
Actually, let's move to. We don't have much time.
Yeah,
and
let's
I
move
would-
to this one and then
The-
to the last one,
the
and then
last
we're
one.
gonna just
Yeah.
Okay,
Jump.
Yeah.
back.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, we can go from the 14th. You can read it.
Okay. Leaving aside all this studying stuff, what are your hobbies?
Hobbies.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I know that you have a YouTube channel.
I do have a YouTube
Right.
channel.
I would like
Slight-
to ask our moderator to put a link
Slight
in
plug.
Instagram and in Microsoft Teams so people can open
He
that.
makes fun of me for my YouTube,
Follow?
but
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I've watched your
I'm
videos.
an
and they're-
I think that's the
Okay.
business of the brother. You know, every
Yeah,
single brother
yeah.
to make fun
He's giving the
from.
plug.
it's kind of I mean,
What is the channel about? What
well,
do you
I
do
just
there?
okay. So I did it for like almost shouldn't say just for me, but like I want to like document my experience of living in Poland because that's kind of cool, and I can
That
look,
is cool.
I can look back on it. So like I started from literally I have. If you go to my YouTube, my very first video is me literally flying from Houston to Warsaw. Like I've videoed myself packing and stuff like that. So like the whole goal is to just film like what I'm doing here. And also my friends in the United States, like it's hard to like tell someone about it, so why not show them in a video form? And he wants to create a channel, and we want to start doing like aviation stuff, like we can video our flying, for instance. But it's honestly just more of like I shouldn't say a documentary, but it's like,
Documentary.
it's just me, and I'm like not really experienced. Like, don't judge my videos if you're gonna watch them, but
Just like them.
yeah, like them and subscribe.
Leave a dislike.
Yeah.
Okay, what about your hobby then? We know that you have a
Yeah.
Running, play the banjo, photography.
photography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to mention because
Yeah.
you're always coming with the
Yeah,
camera
I
to
always-
our
I love
meetings.
taking pictures, and I just recently got into like film photography. Like, anyway, I love film photography now. But yeah, photography. I like to run. Which is now I sound really boring. Now that I
So you can make the videos for your YouTube
Exactly.
channel.
I'm the gorgeous face out on front. Like, yeah.
Mhm.
You can be behind the camera. Yeah. But yeah, no, yeah.
But do you like to film people or things or
Anything. I mean, it could be architecture. It could be animals.
Cool.
People.
You draw stuff too.
Yeah, no, I do sketch stuff, but yeah.
You're more
but-
artsy than I am. I'm not really.
Yeah. But I'm,
I mean, I play guitar, and that's like
Oh, you play guitar? Hello.
rock on. Yeah. But then don't even.
Yeah,
don't
okay,
even.
that's
So
fine.
you
there's probably
guys,
some- yeah.
so you have hobbies, and it doesn't like I
Oh,
mean
for
your
sure, yeah,
faculty
yeah.
doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you spend.
Oh, no.
And that's the thing is like, 'cause like even
We have a
like,
life.
Okay,
By the
that's
way, do you have time for that? I mean, do you have a lot of
Yeah.
free time?
yeah, we have
Yeah,
time.
because I think the studies, it's like, because I think because you
I
just
mean-
gotta allocate time. It's like a normal. Most of our stuff is almost like a normal university in terms of. I mean, besides the fact that we're learning how to fly an airplane, which is not normally a university thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're allocated like class time, and then you just do the work, and then you just.
We definitely have
free
time. Usually during the week, it's like, okay, focus on class, and on the
Yeah.
weekend, like,
Then
I
you
had a
kinda
beer,
do
for
what you
instance.
want, yeah.
To go back to that, I
Yeah.
had,
Cool.
I had
Yeah,
a beer.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, you definitely have
okay. We'll be finishing soon, and I just have one question. That is, it's not about your faculty. It's not about
Okay.
the students that you have there.
Yeah.
It is about you,
Okay.
and we know that you have a brother.
Oh.
Little brother.
A little
We
brother.
have a little
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
Piecznski. Or
Yeah.
Piecznski, sorry.
a little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say little. He's
Yeah. Why are you holding like this?
he's
like-
not
yeah,
short.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little
brother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is he going to be a pilot too?
That's what he wants.
Yeah,
And
actually,
he's
yes.
probably watching. So
He might be
So
watching.
hi to the little brother
Hi,
whose name
Langston.
is
Langston.
Okay.
Langston.
Yeah, so shout
So,
out.
hi to you.
Howdy, Langston.
And can you tell me, okay, have you ever thought about family business in this area?
Like starting our own airline?
I don't know, probably.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Piecznski Airlines?
yay.
Piecznski Airlines, yeah.
Without why?
Without the why, make everybody question what's
I've never thought about it, but I guess we.
Technically, if we have 3 pilots, that's good.
And a lot of money.
Oh, good.
A lot of money,
Oh,
like
yeah,
thousands
yeah,
of
yeah, we're gonna
thousands
have
of
some- We're gonna have to
billions.
take some
Yeah.
loans out, but that's okay. Whatever. No, but
In our dreams, maybe, yeah.
yeah.
In your
But
dreams,
yeah.
okay.
it would be crazy because, and I'm hoping he does do the pilot thing because then 3 pilots is kind of insane. None of our
that's
people
not-
in
yeah.
our family are pilots. We're the first that want to be
Yeah.
pilots. So
Starters.
So it just
Yeah.
happened.
yeah, I mean,
we
we just liked aviation, and it was like, yeah, I'd like to be a pilot. So then why
That's
not?
cool.
Yeah. So
And
then-
now our little brother, so we're gonna have, I guess,
Yeah.
3 pilots in the family, which
Yeah.
is
But that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's
Yeah.
really, really cool.
Yeah.
we something different. So then we went from no pilots to 3. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
big,
that's
Zero to
big jump.
100.
But yeah.
yeah.
And the last question that I
Okay.
have to you. Does being brothers help you in your studies?
I would say yes.
I hate him.
Whoa.
That was so sweet from two sides,
yeah.
honestly.
No, yeah,
Yeah, say it. Yeah, go ahead.
no, yeah, I think so. I think so, especially when it comes to classwork and things, because it's obviously he may understand something that I don't, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
So then
And we help each other study, and it is really nice because it's
Yeah.
like we live together. So like it's
Yeah.
like when we do classes, he's sitting on the couch and I'm
it
sitting
is
on
kind of funny because when we're on like either Zoom meetings or MS Teams meetings,
Yeah.
it's funny because like I'll be sitting pretty much like on the couch with the camera facing this way,
Yeah.
his camera's facing that way, but it's weird because we could be like, do you know the
Yeah, we can
because it's like
yeah.
we're in the same room,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I would say
Guys.
it definitely helps.
Yeah,
I mean,
of
you
course.
could do it obviously without having brothers, but
Don't
you don't have to have a sibling being
it's
a
just
yeah.
it's just nice.
Yeah.
Well, from our side, I guess, I just need to tell you that you're cool guys.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, the episode was awesome.
Awesome.
Literally one of
Honestly.
my
Thank you, thank you,
favorite.
thank
I
you.
think
Yeah.
that was, literally one of my favorite because you are just cool people.
Oh, why,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
guys
you
are
very
cool
much
people.
for
Thanks
being.
us.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome
Yeah.
to talk about
Thank you
it.
for saying
Yeah.
yes to
Oh,
us.
yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, so let's move to this beautiful moment.
Yeah.
The best question, the coolest one. Who will receive a present, a cool package from Lazarski University marketing department?
I think I like the one was our favorite model of airplane. Which
You need
You
to find
agree?
it. And
what? Do you have another?
Yeah.
You can have 2 options, right?
Okay.
From 2 guests?
I think so.
Or if you agree,
Since we have 2 guests.
I don't know who asked it, but that was a good
Yeah,
question.
I'm going to find that.
Yeah,
Okay.
please
I'll
fi-
agree.
do-
I like my favorite model. But
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
yeah,
Okay.
no, yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
It's just nice. Yeah,
so this
Thanks, man, whoever
was
said that.
from.
Or woman.
or well,
We don't know who asked it, but
Thanks.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we'll find that.
Okay.
Or
We'll find
no?
that. No,
shout out
we
to the person
didn't.
that won. So good job.
Yeah, audio or not.
What do you think? Adios.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I'm going to find that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
find that. We'll write to that person on Instagram.
So that
We'll
person,
contact you.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Congrats to you.
congratulations.
I think I found it. Yes, I
Oh.
did.
But I think I know the person.
Okay, so congratulations. You were the first to ask which is your favorite model of plane you would love to fly one day. That was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was it.
that's
So
the one.
congratulations. Thank you guys for
Congratulations.
choosing.
Yeah.
So,
Sadly, we need to finish.
sadly,
Aw.
really, I think
Aw.
that was one of the coolest episodes that we had. Not because
Thank
we
you.
have 2 guests instead of 1,
Oh, yes.
but because
Yeah.
We should have had 2 hours for
yeah,
that, actually.
exactly, because we have 2 of you and we don't
That's-
care
that's
that you
okay, it was
speak
good.
simultaneously the
Yeah, sorry,
majority of
yeah,
the
yeah,
time.
yeah. Sorry if we talk too fast
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like,
my
we're-
bad.
They're gonna make it slow on YouTube.
They're gonna
Yeah.
put the playback speed
Yeah,
to
but
like.
this was like
And
yeah.
we're gonna talk like, what is your favorite? We're gonna
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
like
yeah.
normal people. Guys, we really appreciate the honesty and the
Yeah.
real reflections that you have from your faculty. I honestly thought that I'm gonna cry in 1 second because we have such a cool faculty here
Yeah.
at
Oh, it's
Lazarski.
Yeah,
really
it's
awesome.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
it's like, it's not just about management or economics or
Yeah.
international
Exactly, yeah.
relations. And
It's
we're
really cool.
super, super happy that we have you at the university.
Why, thank you.
And
Thank you.
Wish you
fingers
good
crossed.
luck in all
It's
this
great to be here,
tests,
yeah.
Fingers
tests,
crossed.
Yeah, yeah,
whatever
yeah.
you have.
We're gonna have
Finals.
a fly with you. one
Oh
day.
yes,
yes,
we will
yeah.
fly
Waiting
you.
for
Yes.
that. Can you
Sure.
tell us at the very end? We're gonna finish it this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
How do you say this? Hi, welcome on board. Whatever.
You know, the thing which
Oh,
we were
oh,
recording.
Oh,
Oh, like, hey, what's up, guys?
that was
Hi,
such
welcome
a,
on board. Your
Yeah.
captain speaking. So,
Yeah.
can you?
What are they
say
saying
this.
after the flight, like when it's over?
You go for it.
Ha.
We haven't
Ha.
had that portion because we're not there yet. We haven't had that portion
we
yet.
haven't
Okay.
left the aircraft
You
yet.
just broke
Thanks
everything.
for flying with us. Hey,
Thanks for flying with
yeah.
us.
Thanks for
So,
flying the friendly skies.
can we just look to that
Yeah.
camera
Yeah. Yes.
and you're gonna say simultaneously? I know that you do that well.
Okay.
Thanks for flying.
Flying with
Flying with us.
Lazarski Talks Airlines.
So, guys,
Yeah.
from our side, thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you in 2 weeks, right?
Exactly.
Right? With the next guest. It's going to be very interesting. Thank you very much, guys, for being with us. It was
Thank you.
a
Thanks
very,
for having
very
us.
cool,
It
cool
was fun. Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
And so,
Thanks
Thank you
for
for
flying
flying
with
with
us.